Buna. Ethiopia feel. To understand the vast coffee empire, we must first travel to its legendary birthplace, Ethiopia. Legend says a goat herder named Kaldi noticed his animals going crazy with energy after eating red berries. This crucial discovery gave birth to the sacred Ethiopian ceremony known as Buna. There are no automatic machines used here. Raw green beans are meticulously roasted over an open flame, ground by hand, and then boiled in a traditional clay pot. It is served in 3 strict rounds, the first round for strength, the second for contemplation, and the third to receive a blessing. Turkish coffee. If we are talking about ancient and potent methods, we must travel back to the 16th century Ottoman Empire to try Turkish coffee. They use a ground coffee powder so incredibly fine that it resembles flour, which is boiled directly in a small copper pot along with water and sugar. It is never filtered. You drink it fully knowing that the dark grounds will permanently stay at the bottom of your cup. That leftover paste is so exceptionally thick that, for centuries, people have used it to read the future and divine the fortune of whoever drank it. Arabic coffee. A similar ancient tradition survives today in the Middle East with Arabic coffee, or kahwa. Instead of using a dark roast, they use very lightly roasted beans and boil them with strong aromatic spices like cardamom. It is served in small cups completely without handles as an absolute symbol of hospitality. This drink is so vital to their culture that UNESCO officially declared it an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Espresso. But the modern coffee revolution was fundamentally built on extreme pressure. Enter the espresso. It serves as the base for 90% of drinks in any coffee shop. The word itself is Italian and literally translates to squeezed. The secret is forcing near boiling water through finely ground coffee at a brutal pressure. This violent extraction pulls the bean's rich oils and creates a dense, small shot, elegantly crowned by a golden, bitter layer of foam. Americano. Americans did not like that intense concentration when they reached Europe. During World War II, American soldiers stationed in Italy tasted the local espresso and found it unbearably strong. Their immediate solution was to ask for an entire cup of hot water poured over it to dilute the shot and simulate the watered-down coffee they drank at home. Italian baristas quickly started calling this watered-down aberration the Americano. Latte. If water doesn't fix the intense bitterness, milk definitely will. Thus the latte was born, which in Italian simply means coffee with milk. Structurally, it is a shot of espresso drowned in 3 or 4 parts of steamed milk and topped with a thin layer of foam. Curiously, the worldwide obsession with giant, vanilla-flavored lattes didn't start in Europe, but rather in the commercial coffee shops of Seattle in the 1980s. Cappuccino. Do you want something with more character, but that still retains milk? Order a cappuccino. It is mathematically perfect, equal parts espresso, steamed milk, and foam. The name comes from Italy's Capuchin monks, simply because the light brown color of the drink was the exact same shade as their robes. A vital fact to remember, a traditional cappuccino in Italy is strictly a morning drink. If you order one afternoon, Italians will look at you with horror. Flat white. If you travel down to Australia or New Zealand, you will inevitably be offered a flat white. It is very similar to a latte, but served smaller and with a much stronger ratio of coffee. The key is the microfoam, a layer of steamed milk so velvety and incredibly flat that it mixes perfectly and seamlessly with the espresso. Cortado. If you are in San Francisco or Spain, they will serve you a Gibraltar or Cortado. It is an espresso shot mixed with exactly the same amount of steamed milk, creating a 1-to-1 ratio that beautifully cuts the acidity without hiding the flavor. Vietnamese egg coffee. Let's talk about ingenious inventions born from pure scarcity. In Hanoi, during the war, fresh milk was an impossible luxury. A Vietnamese bartender began beating raw egg yolks with sugar and condensed milk to completely replace dairy. Thus, Vietnamese egg coffee was born. It has the thick consistency of custard and literally tastes exactly like liquid tiramisu. Scandinavian egg coffee. Adding raw egg to coffee sounds weird, but the Nordics took this to another level with Scandinavian egg coffee. It consists of mixing a raw egg directly with dry coffee grounds right before boiling. During cooking, the egg's protein acts as a powerful magnet, directly binding to the bitter compounds. The final result is the clearest, smoothest cup of coffee you will ever taste in your life. Kaffeost. If you travel to Finland, you must order a Kaffeost, or coffee with cheese. They place solid cubes of a soft local cheese directly into the hot cup of coffee. The cheese naturally absorbs the rich flavor without ever melting. Mocha and Cubano. If you prefer your beverages sweet, the Mocha is your refuge. Historically named after the ancient port city of Mocha in Yemen, where beans had a naturally chocolatey flavor. Over in Cuba, they invented the Cubano, an intensely strong espresso with a pale foam made by vigorously whipping the first bitter drops with a huge amount of sugar. Touba. But not all caffeinated energy is sweet. In Senegal, Touba is uniquely prepared by roasting the bean alongside African black pepper, giving the final brew an intensely spicy and medicinal flavor. Mazagran. Now let's talk about cold drinks. The original was the Mazagran, born in 1840s Algeria when French soldiers completely ran out of milk and simply drank their coffee syrup mixed with cold water. Today in Portugal, it is elegantly served over ice with lemon juice. Greek Frappé. Exactly a century later, the Greek Frappé was born from a ridiculous accident at a Thessaloniki fair. A vendor frantically shook instant coffee with cold water because he couldn't find any hot water, creating a thick, enduring foam that is today the symbol of Greece. Cold brew and Nitro. The true modern money-making machine of the industry is cold brew. It is meticulously made by soaking ground beans in cold water for 12 to 24 hours. This incredibly slow process avoids extracting bitter acids. If you inject gas into this, you create nitro cold brew. Nitrogen microbubbles actively trick your tongue, giving the coffee a remarkably creamy texture and a giant head of foam, all without using any milk. Bulletproof coffee. For extreme diets, there is Bulletproof coffee, invented in Silicon Valley by blending hot coffee with butter from grass-fed cows. Kopi Luwak. Finally, we leave the most ethically dubious coffee for the very end. Indonesia's Kopi Luwak sells for hundreds of dollars a pound. The raw beans are eaten by a small mammal called a civet. Its stomach enzymes ferment the seed, the animal defecates it, and humans collect and roast it to eliminate the natural bitterness. However, high demand has unfortunately created a deeply cruel industry, where civets are locked in tiny cages and violently forced to eat coffee all day long. Paying hundreds of dollars for bottled animal abuse represents the absolute darkest side of luxury.